think so.
What letter is this?
Q.
Q. This is indeed a
In front of...
All right, welcome to the Patriot Hour for Wednesday, December 19th, 2018. Thanks for joining us. If you're new to the channel, you know the routine. If you're new here to any channel, typically they get you to want to sign up. That's what we're looking for, folks. Hit the subscribe button. That way you get any alerts the minute we put them out. Okay, we got some something that hasn't gotten a lot of attention here with all the other stuff going on. But on December 7th, President Donald J. Trump signed S-2152 into law. And this is White House Gov reports on Friday, December 7th, 2018. The president signed into law S-2152, the Amy, Vicky, and Andy Child Pornography Victim Assistance Act of 2018, which requires federal courts to order mandatory restitution against a defendant who is convicted for trafficking in child pornography. Breaking as an entire MSN was distracted with the Russia collusion hoax, President Trump signed into law a bill that forces convicted child sex traffickers to pay restitution to their victims. There goes Charlotte's Trust Fund. It's happening. We got all these hashtags, Pizzagate, Pedogate, QAnon. So we got an article here, 3.0, at Liz Freedom. Looks like a little quote maybe. Very bad news for child traffickers and any organization connected to child trafficking. They will now have to pay their victims restitution, now signed into law by President Trump under S-2152. Now you have to be curious what organizations may fall under this new law signed by Donald Trump today. And it's very, very likely the Clinton Foundation will have to pay child trafficking victims along with the Catholic Church. This is also very bad for the deep state in general, because like drug trafficking rings, deep state organizations depend on evil child trafficking rings to carry out their operations. Hopefully this will lead to a list of organizations, charities, and names who will have to pay restitution to all the victims of trafficking. I mean, this isn't a bad thing, folks. I mean, each little executive order, amendment to existing ones, upgrades to cover areas that weren't covered before. Why wasn't this kind of stuff put in before? I mean, it just means the old regimes weren't actively, truly trying to stop it. It's the biggest thing on the border. People are real upset about people being separated, but what do you do when an adult male or an adult comes up with a few kids and you find out that the kids are not his? You got to lock the guy up. Do you lock the kids up with the captor that they don't think belongs to them? And there's tall tale signs. The kids are whining and being able to speak sometimes. That's not, I don't know him. And that guy can say whatever. Oh, I'm just breaking over your border to get him into, San Diego to meet up with his aunt. Okay, you just take words and more words of people. They'll tell you anything. So you got to go with the facts here. This is being set up. It wasn't done before. Otherwise, Trump wouldn't have to be doing it. If you have a war on drugs, a war on this, wouldn't you set up everything so people don't, partake in that? It's just unbelievable. Or they're being set up, all this stuff's coming in to be able to get people that they're getting ready to take down, so it falls in line with this. There's only a couple of logical answers here for that. Only a couple of logical answers. All right, so in a little bit of other news, back to the Q post, still been getting some emails. And again, in my own personal thoughts on this, scrolling. How do you know the future? What was in the envelopes? of gold. So, all right, right back here to this one. Internet infrastructure being safeguarded. NSA ability to overreach host possible. Should we be prepping for some kind of shutdown? Reports of the power grid attacks. And then 6-month prepping because of the power grids going down should be disregarded. So, I guess I don't talk about that. I told you guys I already implement this into my lifestyle. So I don't talk about it much just for the fact that it's so normal. And what I mean by that is I always have an abundance of things. So if you're just day to day or week to week, yeah, that would be foolish, because even like we were talking about, there's so many different levels of prepping. You can be a one with just normal foods that you FIFO in and out, first in, first out. And then you can buy, get extreme to another level and buy almost like MRE type of rations that have a shelf life of 25 years or more. I mean, it just depends on how much money and how serious you want to get with your prepping. But I would say everyone should be a few weeks out, because this was a direct question about the power grid, and they're saying, we got that covered. It's not going to be some kind of power grid, even though these people do attacks. And then people refer back to the Trump preparedness one, emergency back in July. I think he made amendments to Obama one. It's not really an executive order. I couldn't find it that way, and I've had it up before. I got other videos over it, so I know we've covered it. But then you have Trump talking about the emergency broadcast and to people to prepare, and then you have this Q kind of saying no, and who do you listen to? When it comes to prepping, who do you listen to? Is Trump right? Is the Q right? Is the MSN right? Is your favorite YouTube channel right? Honestly, it's going to come down to you and what you think. I've gone a few days without power in the last couple years. That's about the most I've had happen. I know books that have been around since the early 80s, and people have come to conclusion in the early 80s, everything that's going on was going on then. It was a lot more of a progressive build up till now. You go back 50 years and you can see changes till now with technology, and more they're trampling on our rights. But think about the guy in the 1980s, early 80s, that wrote a book, and his whole life changed to be a prepper because things are coming, the government's coming to get you, and he's been sitting around for 40 years now, 30 years, right? And a lot of his food's gone bad, unless he's been doing it in a certain manner. And that's just, a story. So you should always prep, but you still got to live. You still got to move on. You still got to go every day to day. So you should implement prepping, and to the degree what works for you and your family and what's feasible. You hear it all the time. Well, I already live in the city, and that's one bad thing. That makes you need to move your whole lifestyle then, if or you have a bug out bag, and then you don't know how it's going to go down. You can only prepare to, once something hits the fan, we're getting in the car and we're going to drive this way. The minute you go that way, what if there's some Humvee tanks and roadblocks set up? Now your whole plan just went to heck, didn't it? You can't. What do you plan? What do you know where people are going to be out there to stop you? So keep all that in mind. Prepping at different levels, multiple levels, how extreme, and what works for you. I prep. I do have some shelf life stuff, but that's just for, because of, I got some MREs or something, that I've had. But other than that, I do a lot of just canned foods and other things, waters that I have. And I constantly kind of just like to buy lots of food like that anyway. And I'm constantly, first in, first out rule. So the minute something would go down, if I was to lose power, just naturally, maybe even nothing going down, just I'm good. I know I'm good for a while, and you got to think, that's all you got to think about. Prep like you're prepping for just your own emergency, and what is feasible for you in your stockade. And, it's easy to do, folks. Costs a little bit of money. It can cost you lots of money. It just depends on the extreme you want to go and what really is your plan. Everyone should have a plan, and I think everyone should have things on hand, of course. So lots of emails on it, and people worried, and I'm just trying to help. A couple videos ago, I came out on it like, you don't need, I don't think I ever came across as you don't need to. I wouldn't listen to any government official as well telling me something like, you shouldn't have any extra food, just the day's worth. I don't think anyone's saying that either. So, yes. All right. What else? That was about all I really had for you. That executive order, again, folks, is very interesting. Amending Executive Order 13223. So again, this is an amendment to a existing. Oh no, this is a different one. So he signed into law S-2152. I had this other one up, and this is something else from back in October 20th of 17. And this is declaration of national emergency by reason of certain terrorist attacks, which declared a national emergency by reason of the terrorist attack of September 11th, 2001 in Pennsylvania and against the Pentagon, and continuing the immediate threat of further attacks on the United States, and in order to provide a Secretary of Defense additional authority to manage personnel requirements in a manner consistent with authorization provided in Executive Order 13223 of September 4th, 2001, ordering the ready reserve of the armed forces to active duty and delegating certain authorities to the Secretary of Defense. Secretary of Transportation is hereby ordered. So this just goes into an amendment of 13223. Basically, the ready reserve, being able to call people back up on a moment's notice. Section 1, Amendment Executive Order 13223, Section 1 of Executive Order is amended by adding at the end the authorities available for use during a national emergency under Section 688 and 690 of Title 10 United States Code, and also invoked and made available according to the terms to the Secretary concerned, subject in case of the Secretaries of the Army, Navy, Air Force, to the direction of the Secretary of Defense. Everyone's like, where's the Marines? Well, they fall under the Navy. General provisions, nothing in this order shall be construed to impair to otherwise affect the authority granted by law and executive department of agency, or the head thereof, or the functions of the Director of Office Management and Budget relating to budgetary, administrative, or legislative proposals. B, this order shall be implemented consistent with applicable law and subject to the availability of appropriations. C, this order is not intended to and does not create any right or benefit, substantive or procedural, enforceable at the law or equity of any party against the United States, its departments, agencies, or entities, office, employees, agents, or any other person. Okay. All right, so that was another interesting one. Again, a little over a year ago. All right, we're at the 15-minute mark, so we will So you gotta, again, just decide, folks, what as far as a little bit of prepping, are you prepping for the end of the world? Are you prepping for the power outage? Are you prepping for, just a personal, power outage? All Q kind of implemented was that there wasn't going to be some kind of, EMP on the power grid or something to take it all out, and that we're going to be out without power for the rest of our lives or something. I mean, or 6 months, or so that is up to you. That is totally up to you. Nobody can tell you that but yourself, because you're thinking for yourself, right? We're all thinking for ourselves, and depending on you, your family, your situation, where you live, how much money you have, I would say at least be good for a few weeks at the minimum. That's quite a bit of time to think and come up with some other plans, but at least be for a few weeks for sure. And that that involves lots of things, not just food, right? Other things. And again, that depends on you. I take it for granted. I don't talk about it a lot because it's implemented into my life on a level that works for me and my family. All right, again, I'm Michael. This is a Patriot Hour. God bless, Godspeed to each and every one of you worldwide. We'll see you back here real soon on the next Patriot Hour update video. I'm going to be looking for the Loretta Lynch. I think she was somewhere today talking. So there was nothing live, nothing covering it. We're just waiting on something to come out, something that we can look at and read and get to you, because I'm interested. All right, we'll see you back here real soon.